Hi, welcome to episode 81 of Eat, Drink, Write, an Urban Fantasy Whiteboard. Y'all, we've already been talking for about an hour before we even started recording. I've gone through a whole drink already.
Yep.
Today, we are going to talk about how to write emotions. And specifically, we're going to talk a little bit about two of them. Basic overall of how to write emotions, and then we're going to go into betrayal and smugness as examples.
Yeah.
But first, how was your week?
My week was really good. Obviously, I'm back home now if you're watching on YouTube, but I spent the week at the beach in Maryland, Ocean City. So that was awesome. I went with my girlfriend and her mom and a bunch of other folks. So my week was phenomenal. And then I just had my first day of work back and it was not as phenomenal. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah. Nothing can quite match to the phenomenation of vacation.
Is that a word?
It is now.
Okay. The phenomenation.
My
phenomenality.
Week, I was just getting ready for court this week. I've got chaos court started today, so it's just I apologize ahead of time. Although I'm starting my second drink, so things are looking up.
Yeah.
What are you eating and drinking?
So I'm going to order food for dinner because I was going to go to the grocery store and I got off work later than I expected and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I'm going to order food and I'm ordering Mexican food. So I'm going to get this special Cuban sandwich and it's got like hot dogs on it and eggs and avocado and pork and like it's a great sandwich.
I think you've had that before for the podcast.
Oh, I believe it. I order it all the time. It's like my go-to at this place. But I also discovered chorizo cheese dip from this place and it's so good. So I'm also going to have that.
Not a fan of chorizo. Your dad likes chorizo.
I love chorizo. I would live off chorizo if I weren't so greasy.
It's just very gamey to me.
It's delicious is what it is.
Not a fan.
It's so good. But I'm drinking. Hold on. But I'm drinking. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry,
what are you
excitable
drinking
today, I guess. It's very bright.
It is
bright
red.
It's a Seagram's. It's a passion fruit mango Seagram's.
Oh, fun.
So it's pretty yummy. It's very sweet, but that's, it's Seagram's. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of sweet drinks. Well, not now that I'm on keto.
Mm-hmm.
So my week was just getting ready for court.
Yeah.
And I am drinking my favorite, the sparkling pink Brut rosé.
Yeah.
And my mouth is watering and I've already had a glass.
Oh, lovely.
And for dinner, I'm going to make keto French toast.
Oh, that sounds good.
We have found keto bread.
What about keto syrup?
We do have keto syrup.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we're making French toast, which we haven't had for 2 years because we've been on keto. And Jordan, daughter number 3, went to Costco and said they have keto bread, keto hamburger buns, keto everything.
That's cool.
Yeah, she bought us a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, we're having French toast. But I am drinking my champagne stuff. So
sweet. Awesome.
I have jokes.
Of course you do. Let's hear them.
Since we are talking about emotions, I looked for emotion jokes.
Okay.
I was at an emotional wedding. The cake was in tears.
Okay, listen, I just went to a wedding 2 nights ago and this guy got up and he gave a speech and this was at a wedding that I didn't know anybody. I was a plus one. And so I got to watch all the speeches and just like see how people were. And this dude stood up and gave a speech and he was like, everybody here is just so emotional about the two of you, uniting, becoming one. Even the cake is in tears. And so it was good. He got a good laugh out of everybody.
That's pretty good. I get really emotional whenever I see escalators. Last time I was on one, I found it moving.
Oh, bless. All right.
This next one's my favorite.
Oh, God.
Don't carry your emotional baggage with you. Use your grief case.
Your grief case? I like that. That one's fun.
I like that one too. That was my favorite one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so writing emotions. There are 3 ways to write emotions. You've got body language. You can actually name the emotion, like she was happy. Tell the the reader she was happy. You can do it via character thoughts.
Right.
You can do it via dialogue, and not just what they say, but how they say it. You can do it through nonverbal cues, like thoughts or reactions to certain situations.
Yeah, I think that's more than 3 ways to write emotions. I'm just
I think you're right.
Your counting is off.
Body, yeah, it's been one of those. I'm a lawyer, not a mathematician, so
There
okay.
are 3 ways. Now here's 5 of them.
Oh Lord, sorry, y'all. I am not a mathematician. I'm a lawyer.
I just thought it was funny.
Okay, so emotions are felt inside and shown outside.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so like showing, not telling, basically.
Oh yeah.
Well, kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, anyway.
I mean, this does make it really hard if you're writing a first person story, with which both of I, me, myself, and I, both you and I, tend to write in the first person. So it's hard. The reader can get what's in our main character's inside feelings, but we can't really show what's in the other characters' inside feelings other than what they portray outside.
Right.
So basically we
Sorry, I broke your concentration.
We should have recorded an hour ago. We're way down the drinky trail right now.
Yes.
So how can you tell what the other characters are feeling if you're writing a first person character? Yeah. Well, it's basically the same way we do every day. That you and I do. The same way anybody does is you pick up on visual cues, you hear what they're saying, you watch their actions, and that's how you know what they're feeling.
Right.
So in writing emotions, a lot of that comes out when you develop your character.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how they're going to act until you know who they are. So
exactly.
in order to know how the character is going to feel in a particular situation, you have to get to know them. And so these are things you've probably done at the character development stage. Are they quick to anger? Are they shy? Do they blurt out everything they're thinking like Beck does?
Right.
Are they huggers, or are they more aloof? I guess the proper way to say that is, are they demonstrative or are they reserved?
Right.
I like to make up well, those weren't made up words,
those were words. Yeah.
But I like to do that kind of thing. So what is your character's comfort zone?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So some people are really comfortable with oversharing. I am unfortunately one of those people. I actually had a defendant the other, I don't know, month ago or so in court that told the whole courtroom about her issues where she was bleeding from her rectum. Open court.
That's good public knowledge.
Tells everybody, and we're all going, oh,
good. Like, thanks for letting us know. I guess.
I mean, but she obviously was one that was willing to overshare. And then I had another defendant. It was like dragging teeth out of him to get his emotions out. He said he wouldn't say anything in court. He showed up like an hour late and he just was shut down. And so the judge tore into him, this is court. This is, you don't come late to my courtroom. And after court, when he met with the agent one-on-one, he broke down and cried and said his mom had just died.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to say that in open court. And so
he's not going to say that in front of everybody. Yeah.
He got reamed, and that was why he was late, and he still made it to court.
Yeah.
But he wasn't comfortable about saying that in front of the entire courtroom.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I sometimes have trouble getting to know my characters. Like, I don't always know like how they're going to react to things. I don't really always know how they're going to show emotion. Are they outward or are they more reserved? And so, there are a few different things that you can do if you have the same issue. And the thing that helps me the most is writing scenes with them, which I know I've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my favorite way to ease into new characters, and using characters that you already have developed in a scene with this new character can also help you to get comfortable writing that new character.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Do a character information sheet. I'm sure we talked about this during character
Mhm.
development. I think we did that episode like way back towards the beginning.
Long time. We probably need to do a
Re-up
more
it.
in-depth one. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's so much with character development.
Yeah. But there are like tons of lists that I've found where it's like deepest questions that you should ask yourself or your character. And it helps you to get into a better mindset and what they might think of a question like, what would you do if you found out you were going to die in 2 days? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah. And then also think about the character types you already have in your story. And this one's a little more on the crafty side of things rather than, just thinking about, writing scenes and like that kind of thing. But if you already have like a loud character, could your story use a quieter character? And, so maybe think about the structure of your story and how character emotions may help one way or the other.
Those are very good points. And use your writing journal to do these things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, do that.
And go listen to our episode on writing journals.
Writing journals.
Well, for those watching, my face is about as red as my shirt just from having 1.5 glasses of wine.
You're just a little cheery.
I'm cheery. That's it. So think about stimulus versus response. People will react to the same stimulus in very different ways. And a lot of my information came from the Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi's Emotion Thesaurus, which I urge everybody to buy. I urge everybody to buy every one of their Thesaurus books.
Absolutely.
Definitely very helpful.
There's such good resources.
They really are. But she talked about a stimulus where you've got a spider that crawls across the table at lunch at a lunchroom.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got one girl that freaks out, jumps up, lets out a shriek. You've got a second girl who leans back, frowns, and crosses her arms over her chest. And you've got a third girl who uses a gum wrapper to try to urge the spider away from the group.
Shoo.
Yeah. Same stimulus, but very different reactions.
That's a really good point. I never really thought about it that way. I guess I've never really thought about writing emotion explicitly either.
Because it kind of just happens. But
right.
When you go back and edit, or after hearing this, when you're writing your first draft, hopefully this will help you do that too. So there's less having to re-edit. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, mama. Wow.
It has been a very long day.
But yeah, so basically, different reactions to the same kind of thing. You're going to have different personalities involved. There are always going to be people who jump into action when something goes awry. Some people who are just going to be like, nope, bye, and just flee. And then some people who are going to like just get angry at something that happens, like you're going to have all these different kinds of reactions, and that can influence your story in a lot of different ways.
Think about the zombie movies and stuff that are out there and how different people react to zombies. Some are natural leaders and they want to help their fellow man and okay, I'm going to protect these people. And some are like, I'm out of here. See you later. I'm going to go protect myself. I mean,
right.
That kind of thing is out there. So think about that when you're writing emotions.
Yeah.
Using dialogue to portray emotion. So your first assumption might be that I'm talking about dialogue tags like she muttered, he cried, she hissed, he mumbled. And those can certainly help convey an emotion, but use those sparingly. I think we might have talked about this before. I think we did an episode on dialogue. They are useful. What is your cat doing?
I think it might be the upstairs neighbors. I think I just got new upstairs neighbors, y'all. So if y'all are on the YouTube, if y'all are watching YouTube and I'm like doing weird stuff, that's why. I think they're moving in. So they're making a lot of strange noises. And I always, my cat's son likes to run into the glass door. So I just like to make sure he's good and not concussed.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden you leaned really close into the camera and I saw a really good view of the side of your headphone.
They're lovely. They're very good. I was making sure nobody was like just walking into my apartment. So, that too.
Okay. But use those sparingly. I like to use them. I don't like I don't like rules at all, but there's that rule that you should only use said. Well, I don't think that's accurate. I think it's fine to have them mutter. I mean, it's one thing to say she hissed, because can you really talk hissing?
Right.
You know,
Wow.
I mean, and I think you can talk hissing. It's just,
I think my rule of thumb on that, and I don't know if I talked about it in an episode previously, but my rule of thumb on that is if I can get across the whatever word I want to use in the dialogue tag, if I can get that across through the dialogue, then I'll just use said.
definitely.
But if it is like a string of words and then he muttered, I think that's totally fine.
Well, and sometimes whisper needs to be said too.
Right.
She whispered because, the reader might be thinking, why is she talking out loud when that ghost is in the other room? Shouldn't she be talking softly? So you might have to say she whispered, or whatever.
Right. Exactly. And, I mean, I think that the longer dialogue tags like muttered and whatever can be clunky at times, if you overuse them or whatever. The brain likes to skip over the word said, so that's why it gets used a lot. But different words can clog the writing, and it's not avoid them at all costs. Obviously, rules are broken.
You don't want to bring your reader out. You don't want to use it so repetitively, all these different variations of said, that your reader is finally going, oh my God, this is ridiculous. What's the next adjective going to be? What is it going to be?
Right. Right.
And it starts to stand out, and it can make your work seem over dramatic. And that is going to come across to an agent as not professional necessarily.
Right.
I mean, as we said, there are no strict rules. Just be aware when you do whatever you do.
Right.
Okay. So saying the feeling, you can say it. You can have your character say, I'm so happy. And that's fine. It may be perfect for whatever it is you're trying to get across. I mean, I say it all the time, especially when I'm eating food. So if your character, if I was the character, then that would be a normal thing for the writer who's writing me to have me say and do. I always say, I'm so happy.
Right.
But try thinking about, how are they happy? I mean, what are they doing that shows that they're happy? So when I'm eating a delicious meal, I'm not just sitting there stone-faced eating. I'm wiggling in my chair. I actually call it my little happy dance. I do a happy dance when I'm having good food.
I do too.
I'm rolling my eyes heavenward. I'm probably making these noises.
You absolutely do.
I love food.
100% do.
Yeah, this is why I'm on the keto diet, y'all, because I love food. But yes, I would probably still announce that I'm happy. I would still say it. That is something that I do. I said it the other night. We were eating somewhere. I don't know. I'm trying to remember now. Mexican food maybe. And I'm like, oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Because it was such good food.
That's very in character for you.
It is. Someone else might say, oh my God, this is fabulous. Or I haven't had anything like this since my grandma, whatever.
Right.
So there's other ways to show it. You can show it through a memory, but having them say, I'm so happy, is perfectly in character for me. So it might be in character for your character.
Definitely. I also, thinking about that though, I think it'd be interesting for a character to say, yeah, I'm so happy or whatever, and know from context clues that they're not. So like using these other tips that we're talking about to show that they're not happy, but like having the dialogue contradict that.
Okay. So that's like the female, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And the husband or the other is going, she's not fine.
She's not fine.
I mean, I can definitely tell she's not fine.
Right.
So yeah, but that's a good point. That's a great way to show the true emotion, is by having the words opposite of what, using character cues or physical cues or body language to show the opposite of the words coming out of their mouth.
Right.
That's a great idea. Think about your word choice. We've talked about this in episodes before.
Yeah.
Just the simple technique of choosing what words your character is saying can get across emotion.
Yep.
Some words are sharper in meaning than others. Some can be softer. Profanity. that can show anger, that can show fear or agitation. It's like, oh shit, there's that spider. That would be me at that girl's table. I would be up out of my chair. The chair would have fallen over and I'd be going, oh shit.
Well, I was playing Resident Evil with Sydney one time, and I'd turn around and there's a zombie right there, and my reaction was apparently to yell "fuck," and I was like, oh. I just yelled that extremely loud in an apartment, and the door open, and I was like, all right, well, that's my fear response, is to yell "fuck."
Great. Vocal cues. And I'm talking about the way someone talks. So like pitch. Does the voice go shrill? I still remember our neighbor, bless his heart, when I was a little kid, and his mom would call him, and depending on her pitch, we knew whether he was in trouble or not.
Yeah.
I mean, and Leonard,
oh gosh,
or Leonard.
I see.
Okay, Leonard, it's dinner time or whatever, but Leonard.
Oh God.
And he would look at us and his eyes would get big. Going, oh shit, sorry for you, guy. Good luck.
Man, well, I kind of remember something similar when I was a kid. I would know when I was in trouble, and you were talking to me too.
Really? You never got in trouble.
Taylor Jade.
Well, yeah, I did do that, didn't I? You're right. I did. So the same word, but how it's spoken means, that can relay emotion.
Yeah.
An accent. I've known people who, as they get angry or excited about something, their accent becomes stronger. English might be their second language. They might be Hispanic, or they might be Russian. And when they get excited or angry or upset, that accent becomes heavier.
Yeah.
And we did talk about, I don't know if it was in dialogue episode or not, as to whether to write out, the Cajun.
Right.
There's pros and cons to doing that.
There are pros and cons. And a lot of the time, the standard quote unquote rule is to not write out the accent.
Yes. But I think it might be effective to have that accent written out in times of stress to show.
Yeah.
And you can always tell your audience his accent was heavier, but it would be it might work to actually spell out the words to show that, to have their dialogue speak that accent so you can see it.
Right. And
then tone, which is kind of similar to pitch. But, think about how a person's voice can go flat when they're angry.
Yeah.
Or that non-committal tone when you ask someone something and they're not willing to make a choice. And so that non-committal tone that doesn't let you know really what they're thinking.
Well, it's like I was telling you earlier today, I had a coworker come up to me and ask just like not a great question. And the logic behind it wasn't there. And so she was like, well, let's do this. And I said, why?
That was a very nice way to put that.
I'm trying to be, it wasn't, the logic was not there. And so I was just like, why? And that was the tone. And she just looked at me and I was like, oh, I should probably be nicer. Yeah, I'm at work, but give me better logic than what you just gave me.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Think about the flirty tone.
Oh yeah.
It's a light,
sultry,
yeah, flirty.
Yeah.
And that's when someone's trying to gain attention from someone in particular, that kind of thing. So tone matters.
Absolutely.
I think I've said this before, but I love to sit in an airport or whatever area and watch people.
Yeah.
You get all kinds of emotions, reactions, body language, and take your writer's journal with you and write down things that strike you.
Absolutely.
Things that you,
yeah.
Always. You get, if you're having trouble writing emotions, go to the mall, just sit there and watch people. I mean, don't get stalkery,
Yeah, don't
stalkery a word.
Yeah, sure.
It is now. But just watch people reacting to each other. And that can sometimes, if you're having writer's block, sometimes that can unblock you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, I was thinking the same thing because I just went to the beach. And there's like this long boardwalk that stretches like 2 miles and it's super popular. It's got a bunch of stores and like food places to stop along it. So tons of
Bars.
people. Yeah.
The
Well,
important things.
yeah, absolutely. So it was fun to like watch people interact with like store owners and like the food industry, you know, like that kind of stuff was really interesting. And I also went to that wedding that I was talking about earlier and I didn't know anyone. So it was good for me to just like sit down and watch how all of these people interacted in a space where they all did know each other. And I was just like, I didn't know anyone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch. And I could tell that at one point the bride was upset about something. And I don't know what happened, but I could just tell because her hands were just like up and doing jerky motions. And then she put her hand on her forehead and just like, you know, she was upset and very stressed. So I could tell.
Very good way. And if you had your writer journal, you could have sat there at the wedding and written down all of your observations.
Oh, yeah, I could have. I would have been marked weird, but you know.
Hey, we are weird. That's okay.
True. That's true.
Nonverbal cues. So this can be tough if you're writing a first person character.
Right.
Which we only, as the reader, we only know what our character sees and thinks others are feeling.
Right.
Which may or may not be reliable.
That's part of the fun of first person writing.
I love first person writing, but
yeah.
you know, our character, especially if there's a romantic angle somewhere in there, the things that people think other people are thinking is hilarious. It can add humor. That's a thing I love to do, is add humor.
True.
And sometimes telling is okay when it comes to emotion. It's not necessarily a cheat. You know, you don't worry that an agent's going to go, oh, she's cheating because she told me. Just don't overdo it. You know, show that you can also show as well.
Right.
So this emotion thesaurus, you need to get it.
It's fantastic. It is so
all
good.
of their books are fantastic.
Yeah.
I chose 2 out of that book just to give you an example of a limited piece of what they go into. They go into so much more depth than this. I mean, there's like 2 pages on betrayal and 2 pages on smugness. But just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, for betrayal, the body language, you know, they're flinching, that sharp intake of breath where
the gasp.
That gasp where they're like, I can't believe this is happening.
Right.
The lips that are pinched or thinned, trouble breathing, clutching their chest where you've wounded me to the core, shaking the head in denial, like this can't be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are all super good because, you know, I think whenever I read it in a novel, I always see it described as, or, you know, something akin to a punch to the gut. You know, you get punched in the stomach, you can't breathe and you can't believe that this thing has just happened.
And think about, there are cliches out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Think about how to twist those cliches up so that it isn't just that trite punch in the gut or whatever. I mean, punch in the gut isn't really trite, but
right.
But you know what I'm talking about. Try to twist up or sit there and physically, you know, I think I've said this before. Your dad and I are in the same room. We work in the same room. So when I'm writing, we're across the desk from each other and I tend to act out whatever it is I'm trying to write because I want to see, you know, what are my hands doing? What if I'm angry? How is my face? You know, and he just watches me and laughs. But, you know, act out these things to try to twist up, you know, how does it feel when this happens? Okay, so punch in the gut's been used. What else, you know, what else knocks the air out of you? Twist it up, make it different.
Absolutely.
Power verbs to work. And she had a whole list. I didn't want to, you know, give away all her stuff. You need to go buy their books. But dazed, ache, shock, shake. I mean, those kind of things are power verbs that help get that idea across of the betrayal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then smugness, the body language. And this one, the smirk, that smirk is what I always think of when I think of that stare. Yeah. The hard smile where, you know, you see teeth, but nothing's in the eyes.
Yeah.
Waving the hand in dismissal. the raised eyebrow, tossing one's hair back.
That's a good one.
Direct probing eye contact. When someone is smug and feels superior, they will make eye contact to try to dominate.
And just to make sure that
Yeah, you know that I am better than you, that
Yes,
I have done better than you did.
Right.
Power verbs are boast, bask, condescend, which is a great one. Deign. He deigned to give me the time of day.
Yeah.
Swagger, strut.
Those are both very good. These thesauruses are amazing.
Mhm.
I like to pull mine out every now and then, and I need to do it again soon. Because just flipping through them makes me want to write again.
Yes, me too. And it's a great way to break out of writer's block, which we did a whole episode on writer's block.
Yep.
But just pulling out these different thesauruses, and they have like 5 of them.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't have them all. I know that.
And I want every one of them.
I do too.
But they will, if you're stuck, or if you're in the beginnings of, you've got this vague idea of, I want to write a book and I've got this vague idea. You start looking through this thing and all of a sudden your character starts to come together. Your world starts to come together.
Yep. You start thinking, how can I use that in my story?
Yes. Oh, I can see my character. I mean, it helps your character come to life because, you'll see the boasting thing and all of a sudden, yeah. I can see this scene, and then you write the scene like you're talking about.
Yep.
You get out your little writer's journal and you write that scene, or you use your computer or whatever it is that, you save things in.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
We will do more on emotions because there's so much to talk about. And I love the way that this thesaurus talks about, it breaks it down into, what's the root really of the emotion? You've got to get down to the root. Is it jealousy that's causing this anger? So it might not be anger. It might really be jealousy.
And it's showing itself as anger.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you got to think about the duality of the anger, jealousy, and you can look at this thesaurus and see the two different, and how can I merge those together and what is more appropriate? So yeah, it's awesome.
No, that's great.
So that's all I've got.
That is all I have too, except I do have an interview question for you.
Okay.
What emotion do you think you write the best?
Snark. Is that an emotion? That's not an emotion.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't think it's really an emotion.
I like the sexual tension. Is that an emotion?
I think that counts. Yeah.
Lust, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. I think that'll work.
I like that a lot. I like to write that a lot. What do you like to write?
I guess I enjoy it, but I think I'm really good at writing anger. Like, I think I'm good at getting across anger in my novels. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and it's fun to do because when someone is angry, people do crazy things when they're mad. And my characters are, of course, main characters. So they're all going to be fireballs when they're angry. And we'll just, I also like to think of, Mercy when she's mad, she gets even, Oh,
so I do love Mercy. Yeah.
I love reading anger too, just to see what characters do when they're just like their heated anger. Cause a lot of people do like stupid things when they're angry, and a lot of people will take a step back and they'll just like fire off something that just hurts feelings because they're angry, so it's really interesting to see and to write, what characters do when they feel that anger.
I had that issue. I've learned a little bit better now to control it. But when I was in high school, I got beat up once because I'm not a fighter. I got beat up once because my mind, unfortunately, is very quick.
Yeah.
And so I would have this person bullying me.
Yeah.
And I could cut them with my words, but their fists were bigger than my words.
That's like Aiden. Aiden is very much that way. She's got some high school stories where she should have just shut her mouth and did not.
And that is me in real life. I couldn't keep quiet because I am I'm too me. Yeah, I just can't.
My fiery.
My wit is very quick, unfortunately, and I'm one of those people like Beck who
You just say
can't,
it.
it just comes out. And then I'm like, oh my God. I remember, oh, this is a story. When I was first starting out in law, I really have become much better. I'm much more politic in how to do it. I know how to control these feelings and not say
Right.
the things that are going through my mind. But back in the day, I had this one case where it was an establishment child support case. This dad had made a baby with this woman, and the employer was trying to stick up for this dad. And it was something along the lines of, this horrible woman, she used her wiles on him and all that. And I'm like, well, he unzipped his pants.
Oh.
And as soon as I said it, I was
no.
like, oh my God. And the employer was like, well, I guess he did.
Oh man.
Oh my God. No, we're in the deep
Backfired.
South. We're in the deep
Yeah.
South, guys. And I thought, I am so fired. But it never came back to bite me. And
Good.
it was a true state. It takes two to tango.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And why this employer was so hell bent on helping this guy evade his child support, I don't know. But that came out, he unzipped his pants, which was not the way to say. I could have said something a little less,
it takes two to tango. You could have said that, and that would have been even better, like.
I do kind of like that shock factor. Well, you know me.
Yeah.
I say things for shock factor a lot.
Yeah.
So, and that was before I learned how to control myself.
Big yikes. I bet.
Anyway, do you have a sentence?
Oh, I do. So if you guys are interested in participating in the challenge, what I do for it is I take a sentence and I write a page, and I force myself to kind of fit it into a page just because that's how I am. I like to put limitations on myself. And the sentence for this week is, don't look so smug, you traitor.
I love it.
Yeah, to kind of call back to the two emotions that we were talking about. So
let us know what topics y'all want us to talk about. There's so many things out there to talk about, and we are definitely open to doing that, although we have had one request that we haven't done yet.
Listen.
That's the sex scene topic, which I think is a huge topic. It is very, very hard to talk about. How do you write a sex scene? It's very difficult.
The world may never know. All right.
The world may never know. Okay, do our outro.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. You can find any of our social media at our website at www.eatdrinkwritepodcast.com. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. You can find our email there. You can reach out to us there. What else?
Come visit our Patreon.
Oh, our Patreon, patreon.com/edw.com/edw. So, come support us because we would love that.
I think, guys, and let us know if you are interested in this. I think I'm going to start working on merch. I've got my business that I do on Etsy, and I've just got a Cricut for Christmas, which it's now July that I'm finally learning how to use it. And so I think I might start doing some t-shirts maybe, or
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Tote bags
or bags or something.
So let us know, and I'll be glad to get Dragoncraft Creations up and running. That way you can just order straight from the company. You don't have to worry about telling us your address, all that stuff. It can go straight through the company. The company can send it to you.
Right.
And let us know ideas too. And we'll try to come up with it.
Definitely. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. See you next week. Where's the stop button?
Somewhere.